But when God showed up, the enemy knew that God had shown up. That they praised God in such a way that the enemy knew while they were over on the other side of the field, something different is happening over there. There's a change that's taking place. There's been a shifting. Something is different. Surely God is in that camp. And they said, you need to know that that's not no small thing, because you know when God shows up, he does great things when he gets among them. That's the same God that delivered them from Pharaoh when they was going through and they was in slavery and they had the ark. And you got to watch out what God will do if he shows up. It got the enemy so worked up that they got more afraid than the Israelites got strong. This is really good. Because what they did was they took God and they marched him right into the temple where they had Dagon. Dagon was on this one. They put God over here and went to sleep. They woke up the next morning, came back to church, Dagon was on the floor. What the world? I know Dagon was up on that thing. And if I had enough time, I'd tell you, not only did God whoop Dagon overnight, because God slipped in there while they were sleeping and whooped Dagon. But when they woke up, Dagon was on the floor worshiping. Because it say Dagon was laying on his face. Y'all don't want to help me? All they did was put God in the temple. Wasn't no saints there. Wasn't no apostles there. Wasn't no prophets there. Just the glory. Are y'all awake? I don't want you to miss this. Shake somebody and make sure they're awake. If you just get the glory in the temple, it'll whoop the enemy. Put the glory in the temple and call me tomorrow. See if the enemy ain't on his face. So when they got up, they came back, Dagon was on his face. And just like you do this too. Y'all don't have to say amen. You see they stop saying amen? You do this too. Because sometimes God does things and you see God do things and you say, did God do that? Yes, that was God that did that. But just to be sure, you do it again. Y'all ain't got to testify. Everybody watching. You do it again and say, maybe it was just a coincidence. Maybe it just happened like that. We're going to put Dagon back up here and make sure it's secure. Tell them kids don't be playing in here so they don't knock Dagon over. And this thing I love about God, Pastor, is that God is so good at what he does. He have a way of putting his thumbprint on stuff. Just to make sure that you know this was God. I don't want you to think the kids did this. This was me. And so not only did he whoop Dagon again tonight, but this morning when they wake up, Dagon is back on the floor. But he still is still Dagon, but he don't have no head. Before his face was on the floor. Now he just don't have no face. Before his hands was face down. Now he just don't have no hands. Because God sent the angel of the Lord in there by night. While you were sleeping, God was taking care of the enemy. He said, I ain't got time to be in the presence of no enemy. When the enemies are in my presence, you know what they do? They bow down. And so, all right. And so when they came in and they saw that's what was going on, you got to understand, they got so excited. They said, look, he done whooped Dagon. It was so bad. Aggie, what they did, they didn't even go back and see Dagon no more. Today, they still don't go back and see Dagon. They just left him in there with no hands. We don't even want to go talk to Dagon no more because God done whooped him. They took the presence of the Lord out of the temple. They took the presence of the Lord, took it to your house. You keep them. What you bring him over here for? We had him in Dagon. He done whooped Dagon. You bring them to my house. What? You know what I'm saying? They put him in this house and say, you keep him in your house. What's your name, brother? Donnie? Yes, he's the brother Donnie. That's good. They put him in Donnie's house. Got it in Donnie's house. It got bad on Donnie. Donnie got what they call hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids. That's a big word. So I looked it up. Y'all know what hemorrhoids is? Hemorrhoids. God that gave the folks hemorrhoids. In the scripture it said he gave them hemorrhoids in their secret places. Hold on to that, Donnie, for me. Don't send that back. They gave Donnie hemorrhoids, and then Donnie's hemorrhoids wasn't good, so they took the hemorrhoids over to Rachel's house. Now Donnie and Rachel both got hemorrhoids. They took the hemorrhoids from Rachel's house and got ready to take them to Weave's house. They said, no, we don't need it. We don't need it. We know what y'all dealing with. We don't need it. Now listen, look at how God does things. By the time they got around to Weave, he had some sense. And Weave said, we don't even want it in our house. Send it back to Israel. Y'all, send God back to Israel. Y'all was scared a few minutes ago because he was in the presence of Israel. And you thought you had won the battle, devil. You thought you had won the battle because you won on the battlefield. But when you got through winning on the battlefield, I was still in your house. And so what happened, what's your name? That's what I said. What happened, Ardell, was that while Israel was out there crying, God was still in Philistine house. And God was whooping Philistine in their secret places. See, y'all don't like when I preach the truth. God can whoop you in the secret places and make you uncomfortable. God can work on your enemy. See, you think you got to get out there and punch the enemy in the eye. All you got to do is let God work on them when they go home. If you can stand still and hold your peace, let the Lord fight your battle. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, kind of thing. While they think they getting away with it, while they think they talked about you behind your back, while they think they messed up your plan, while they think they stole your glory, while they think they messed up your program, you don't know they got to go home. And when they get home, they're going to be uncomfortable. What God did. I ain't talking about Damon. Now, this is in the Bible. Read it. It's big words. Hemorrhoids. You got to understand and see how God does a thing. God is God all the time. He don't sometimes be God and sometimes take a vacation. He's always God. He's always ready to be God. He's always on time. He's always on time because you don't have to go there. He's already there. He's always ready to do what he needs to do. So all you got to do is really not get God to show up. What you got to do is be able to recognize where he is. And so often God has been in our midst, doing things right there with us, watching out for dangers that we see, taking care of dangers we didn't even know existed. And we're looking for God in all the wrong places. And all the time God has been working stuff out behind the scenes we never even knew that he was working on, but he had already fixed it. He was taking care of our enemies at home where they couldn't sit down right, couldn't get no sleep, don't understand why. And he'll make your enemy your footstool. And so you see how this happens. What happens is you don't have to get God to perform. You don't have to provoke God to perform. God is already God. He's already performing. He's already good at it. He's keeping you alive already. If it had not been for the Lord, but he's doing his thing. He's taking care of you. Somebody just make a personal testimony and say, he's taking care of me. He's taking care of me. That's good, isn't it? Isn't that good? I mean, he got my back. He's working things out. There's some stuff. Have you ever had something that you was worried about, and then you worried about it until you got tired of worrying about it? And then after you got tired of worrying about it, you said this, I'm just going to give it to God. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to give it to God. And if he don't do nothing, then ain't nothing going to be whatever. It's going to be whatever God say. And then some kind of way, sometime right after that, God worked the thing out. Isn't that kind of amazing? Do you think that that's because God just showed up because you decided to give it to him? Or has God been following you around the whole time? You let me handle it, I'll take care of it. Just let me move out the way. Just move. I want to do that for you. If you would just let me get in there, I could really fix that for you. Would you let that alone? Oh, they finna mess it up. They finna make it worse than it was. They gonna, that's all right. I can fix it. I'm gonna come around this way and I can do it. Oh my Lord, they over here too. Get out the way so I can fix it. I'm gonna take care of that if you just let it go. All the time, he's trying to fix it. And then you finally get out the way. He's like, thank you. You think you done fasted for 6 weeks. All you had to do was move. You understand what I'm trying to say? Jesus knows how to make earth and creation bow down in his presence. There's no problem that can be presented to the presence of God that can stand in his presence. That there's no situation that you can present to him that he can't figure out, because as soon as he steps into the situation, there can be no confusion in his presence. There can be no stress in his presence. All we got to do is let his presence be manifested in a way that the situation recognizes that he is present. And so what we have to do is to pursue him. And when we pursue him, then we get everything else that we need. But you can't fool God. You can't pimp God. You can't run game on God. You can't talk him into doing you a favor. So God knows when you got up. God knows when you started your prayer meeting. He knew that you was really just trying to get a new car out of him. He know it wasn't no love thing. You know you really don't want him for real. You just want him around so you can get what you want. He knows that you got problems and you stressed out and your kids is on your nerves and your husband left and everything is just going upside down and you just want the world to stop spinning so fast. You don't really want him. You just want stuff to begin to work out. You want things to line up for once in your life. You tired of losing all the time. You tired of going through all the time. You just wish that for once in a while you could be the winner and not that other person over there that you don't like. And God knows when you pray that this is not a love thing. Because your heart, in your flesh, dwelleth no good thing. And you trying to use that to pursue him. When the Ark of the Covenant started to wobble on the cart that they had made to carry him, that God said, you ain't going to carry me like this. When the ark began to wobble, Uzzah reached out to grab the ark. And all he was trying to do was help God. I know y'all ain't never tried to help him. All he was trying to do was help God. And when he reached out to help God, God killed him right where he was. I'm talking about what happened when you really get in the glory. So make sure you want the glory now. Because when you really get in the glory, God say, oh, you want it like that? So now you're going to just touch me? You holy, you just put me on the cart, now you're going to touch me? It messed David up so bad It messed David up so bad just to see what happened with Uzzah trying to do the right thing. I know none of y'all ever experienced this, where you're trying to do the right thing and it just don't. You know, you tell God, I'm going to do it right this time. And instead of you doing it right, you did it more wrong than you did the last time. And you're trying to get it together. And you say you're going to pray more. And you say you're going to read the word more. And the more you say you're going to read the word, you read the word less. And you say you're going to fast. And before you can get into the fast, you don't even know when you started eating. Just somewhere along the way. You say you're going to consecrate yourself. And you mess up more in the consecration than you did when you was walking in the flesh. You can't figure out why it is that you can't do it, because you can't do it in yourself. You got to do it the way God said do it. Now look, if you do it the way God said do it, then God will show up in the thing that he told you to do. But if you do it your way, then you got to do it your way by yourself. And what you will find is yourself Uzzah. You will find yourself Dagon. You will find yourself Philistine. You will find yourself Egyptian. You will find yourself suffering the wrath of God rather than living by the glory of God. Here he is. So that David got so messed up, he did like the Philistines did. He said, we don't even want this thing no more. They said, remember what they did over there with the Philistines? We're going to take the Ark of the Covenant right over here to Obed-Ardell's house. But isn't it amazing that when he brought the Ark of the Covenant to Obed-Ardell's house, no emeralds. But here's what began to happen. Obed-Ardell began to prosper. Good stuff began to happen to Obed-Ardell. He began to experience increase. The favor of the Lord was upon him. He knew he wasn't doing nothing different. But all of a sudden, since the presence of the Lord was in his house, he began to see a change in his situation. The change in his situation was so good that the people all the way back home heard about what was happening at Ardell's house. And that's what happened with some of y'all too. Don't worry about it. God is still doing good stuff. It's so good that everybody don't understand how it is that you blessed and everybody else can't get the blessing that you got. How come it is that I went and applied for the same job that you applied for and I couldn't get the job and they gave you the job and I got more experience than you do, more education than you do? I know 4 people in the back office. None of them could hook me up. You couldn't even sign your name right, and they gave you the job. Because the presence of the Lord is in this place, the manifested presence of the Lord. It's the way it exists in the Christian tradition. When you see God really show up, it doesn't matter what nobody else says, because the heart of the king is in the hand. And so it got so good that David said, look, we're going to go back. I know we left it down at Ardell's home, but we got to make another trip. We're going to go back. We're going to do it right this time.